Our mission begins now. Let us rain some doom down upon the filthy heads of our doomed enemies. I gotta sing the doom song now. Doom, 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 doom.
Good evening. This is the video newsletter for buysellshort.com for Thursday, February 4th. Just a little bit of humor to start off tonight's video. We had a little comic song there that pretty much sums up what we saw in the market today. Nothing but doom and gloom out there. The end of the world is upon us. Run to the bomb shelters. Started off ugly in the pre-market. We had some heavy selling in overseas in the European markets. On news that was pretty much known, you had the piddly little countries, Greece and Spain and Portugal, come out with their budgets. Market didn't really like what they had to say. Greece, of course, is a third world country in Europe that is always in trouble, but their budget projection for the next 3 years came out. The ECB said it was okay, but didn't really matter. It was known news, but it was used as an excuse to sell the market. Same old themes: global recovery's over, double dip recession, blah 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 blah. You of course had all this talk about sovereign debt defaults. Greece is part of the ECB, part of Europe. So is Spain and Portugal. They're tiny components of the ECB and of Europe, but for some reason there was doubts about European growth and etc. today. Utter nonsense in my opinion, but it really doesn't take much for them to run the sheeple in this market, and that's exactly what they did today. Big reason for the sell-off in stocks, just look at it. US dollar goes without saying. Trouble with a European member, and the euro was going to get smacked today, and the only other place for them to go was into the dollar, and the dollar was up pretty big today, and that resulted in a run on commodities. We had gold down 50 plus bucks, oil down $4, and when you see commodities get hammered like that, there is a domino effect in that funds usually use their commodity assets to buy stocks, and when they get hammered on the commodities, they run and sell stocks, which is why you see these huge down days whenever there's moves like this in the dollar and counter moves in oil and gold prices. Funny enough, though, gold $1,050 now a share or an ounce. Wasn't it just at 1,300 when CNBC was telling us, gold was going to 2,000. We had lines of people out the doors of gold shops trying to buy as much gold as they could. Whenever you see mania like that, it usually is right at the top of the bubble. But back to the index charts, we had the Golden Cross yesterday. Really didn't materialize. Probably one of the few times we've seen a failure in that in the last 2 years. I believe it's only failed 3 times now. And, out to the woodshed, they took the market. Looking at the daily chart, right at the close, we dipped below the 10K level. You had all that chatter about, the first move under 10K since November, blah, 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 blah. 10K is not chart support. It's, a BS psychological number. The real support is at 9,700. That is the 38% Fibonacci retracement from the July lows, which is what this market retrace is starting to look a lot like. We do have support at 99.17. That was the top back there when we were consolidating in September before the last big sell-off. So, next couple of 100 points, pretty key for the markets. Big down day today. We've got the jobs number tomorrow. Expectation on the jobs number is job gain of 5,000 jobs. So it's going to be interesting to see what that number comes out as. SMH beaten down again today, and this was despite news and after hours. Cisco, actually a fantastic earnings report from Cisco. Chambers said all areas of their business is booming or bouncing right now. They're looking forward to a really good 2010. They said we're entering the second stage of the recovery, yet the market totally ignored it. Tech stocks just taken to the woodshed today. Cisco is a bellwether for the tech stocks. These were the first guys last March that gave us an indication that the bottom was in and things were going to get better. But for some reason, everyone was running for the hills today. And, it's hard not to when you see big moves down. pays to be in high cash, which we have been and will continue to be high cash. We'll continue to nibble on some plays. I just let them do what they're going to do with the market. Ideal situation for us tomorrow is a gap down. Whether they let us gap down or not remains to be seen. If they had let us gap down a few days ago, we wouldn't be talking about this sell-off right now. That we would have ignored that European news today, and we'd be sailing nicely higher. Right now, the sky is falling yet again, and the end of the world is nigh. We have everyone now with this European contagion talking about, a double dip recession coming back. You've got, the bears parading around on TV. I was reading an article there a few minutes ago about someone calling into doubt the GDP number we had last week and saying that it was all based off inventory rebuilds by companies. Hello? That is what happens after a recession ends. Companies build up their inventory. They start to hire so that they can build up the inventory, and that's how the economic cycle starts. So, just it sounds like I'm a permabull right now, but I mean, when you see the stupidity that's in the media right now, it's hard not to argue the other side, especially when the one side is nothing but negative, 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 negative right now. Or, as that song says.
Would you please stop singing?
Now, while all the talk is doom and gloom, let's jump into a couple of stock plays here just to keep us sort of interested in the market. We won't go into our winners over the last couple of days. Kind of hard to, be talking about that when the market down so big. But ACAD was a nice winner for us yesterday, or the last couple of days. Got as high as $1.53 today, and then like pretty much everything else got whooped down today. Nice little entry in here. We retrace back to the 50-day moving average. We've got that biotech conference next week. If we see any sort of bounce in the market in the next couple of days, the biotechs are going to lead us higher, and we should see a nice snapback on ACAD back to the $1.50 area. Same note, INO hit our first target yesterday. Again, got smacked down today on the market. Totally expected. Usually when you see a sell-off like this, traders just start hitting the sell button. And if you're sitting in high cash and you're being patient, you can pick up some very nice entries here. Yes, take some balls to buy some of these plays, but when you're confident in your due diligence and you're sitting on, high cash, days like today and possibly gap downs tomorrow, perfect buying opportunities for really fast gains. One stock to keep an eye on going into the bio conference next week is AMRN Amarin. Stock has been trading pretty much in a trading range for the last few months, $1.20 to $1.40. Over the last, several weeks, it's been in the $1.40 area. We had a big no volume drop there on Monday. From $1.40 back down. These guys are presenting at Bio next week. Very heavy volume over the last few days. And looks like a shakeout before a move into that conference next week. These guys have lots of cash. Raised $70 million back in late last year. And the chart looks ripe for a little move here in the near term, looking at stochastics and whatnot. STEM, this is another one, gave us a fantastic add opportunity into the close today around $1.20. Again, a play on the stem cell conference that's in 2 weeks. Initial entries here, we can add to this one on weakness. But again, if you have no stomach for adding these stocks in a market like this, just sit on your hands. For those of you that have a little bit of risk appetite right now, some of these big sell-offs that we see are just make for very nice nibble opportunities, in my opinion. So yes, right now things look pretty bleak. Again, if you're feeling uncomfortable, the rule of thumb is, raise your cash levels, get out of stocks that you don't feel comfortable in, trade to your comfort level right now, and just sit back and enjoy the sell-off, to be quite honest. I mean, sell-offs like this are fantastic because they bring all these stocks that have run over the last several weeks back down to nice support and bounce areas, and then you can just ride them back up as the market recovers. So, don't look at down days as bad things. Look at them as opportunities to profit in the near term. And, all this doom and gloom that's out there, we had the same sort of sell-off after the Dubai incident, and a few days later we had a sharp rally. So we're looking at the same thing again. Let's see what the jobs report does for the market in the morning. And, days like today, pays to have a smile on your face. Don't let the market get to you. It will bounce. That's it for the video. See you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Good night.